Hey, I'm Matt Scalici here with Cole Cubelic. Welcome back to the AL.com film room. Cole, big news this week, obviously, is there's been a change made at the quarterback position for Auburn. We're not going to see Jeremy Johnson out there starting against Mississippi State. Going to be Sean White instead. First of all, let's talk about why this decision was made. What was behind it?
I think decision-making was the main reason that this was done, and Jeremy Johnson's had an issue with that. He's a guy that hasn't read defenses correctly, hasn't gotten Auburn into the correct plays, and when there's been option plays, I don't think he's necessarily run it the way Malzahn and Lashley have wanted him to. I think the timing is right. It had to be done now. You're not going to beat Mississippi State with Jeremy Johnson. If you lose to Mississippi State without him, it's not that big a deal. San Jose State next week should be able to keep a pretty simple game plan, get a victory there. Then you have a bye with a Thursday night game against Kentucky the following week. Extra time for Kentucky. Because it's a Thursday night, then you have extra time for Arkansas the following week. That's a lot of practice reps for Sean White to get implemented into this offense, to understand the game plan that they want to install for him. And if that includes a little bit of Jason Smith at quarterback as well, so be it. But the repetitions are what's going to be critical for the quarterback position under Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley moving forward.
You mentioned the decision-making as an issue. We're going to take a look at a play from last week, the LSU game, obviously, where Jeremy Johnson made another really bad decision. Didn't quite have to pay for it this time, but I think what you're talking about really shows up in this play.
Taking a look here at should have been interception by Jeremy Johnson. Now it's going to look like cover two early on with two safeties, but you'll see one safety roll down. Nickelback right here is going to slide over. Jamal Adams almost picked this football off, but it's nice protection by the Auburn offensive line, and the straight drop back protection is where Jeremy Johnson has been somewhat effective this season. It seems like he's been at least more comfortable with a little extra time to operate. The pick almost happens, and we'll see from the wide angle, just not sure what the vision is attempting to locate for Jeremy Johnson. Now, as the play develops, one thing you might miss, safety's rolling down, not sure if Jeremy Johnson notices that. It'll go back to single safety, which tells me the post route that's called for Duke Williams will be wide open if he'll wait on it. Protection's there, but just wait. You'll see Adams from his nickel spot slide right over and almost pick this football off. Just a misread on the part of Jeremy Johnson, not understanding the coverage, not understanding the route combination into the coverage, and just trying to force a ball right into a white jersey.
All right, Cole, let's take a look at the Auburn defense in this game, which just got really gashed pretty badly by this LSU attack. I mean, we already knew this was a struggling unit when it comes to stopping the run, and Leonard Fournette really took advantage of that.
You talk about a guy that averages 9 yards a carry before he's touched by a defender. That's embarrassing. And Leonard Fournette getting a lot of publicity this week, deservingly so. But I want to point out it's not just Leonard Fournette. There's some other guys on this team that are playing some really good football right now. You see kind of a base 4-3 look here from Auburn. We talked last week about Fournette pressing the line of scrimmage and then making his cuts late. He has the ability to do that and then, of course, finish plays and get downfield. But when we look at this from behind, we'll see really an excellent job. I want you to watch your backside guard and tackle right here, the scoop block. They're going to take these two defenders, and just an excellent job by the backside tackle walling off. You'll see the tight end, Dillard, here is going to wall off. And watch how that opens up the cutback lane for Fournette to press the line of scrimmage and then cut back across the grain. It's just a really nice job here. Boom, there's the cutback. And if we bring it back just a little bit, you'll see walled off right there, walled off by Dillard. And then the guard is just going to ride this linebacker right out of the hole, and it's off to the races for Fournette. You got to be careful when Fournette is running, because he's a guy that's pretty dynamic. But even the official sometimes gets taken out by a guy like Leonard Fournette when he's running. Snipers are everywhere. You just never know. But off to the races for Fournette. This LSU offensive line is playing really good football. It's not all in number 7.
Cole, let's flip it around and look at the way Auburn's offensive line performed in this game. We saw a play earlier where they gave some pretty good protection to Jeremy Johnson on that missed throw, but we're going to look at a play here where they broke down later in the game.
And I want to point out the reason that we chose this play is something that defenses are going to continuously do. They're doing this to Auburn, they're doing it to Ole Miss, they're doing it to all the spread teams. A&M's getting some of this because what you get a lot of is just your slide protection, where your whole offensive line just slides one step to the right, but it's gap protection. So it's pretty easy. It's not designed for long 5 and 7-7 drops, but quick distribution is going to be there. Something with Sean White, I think they're going to have to run a lot of because they need to protect him, and he's going to have to get rid of the football quickly. It's called a slide buster is what defenses are doing, and you'll see these two defenders are going to rush into the same lane. They're both going to rush into the B gap. So you can imagine if an offensive lineman is sliding one step to his left to take that gap, two defenders come into that gap, you only have one body. So you're going to get run over. Now, this is not slide protection by Auburn, but it gives you an idea of what some defenses are starting to do to take away certain things. There's also pressure off the edge with a blitz. Sean Coleman sees it a little bit late. But Jeremy Johnson doesn't have the ability to step up in the pocket because that pressure is coming in the middle. You talk to some D coordinators around college football, they'll tell you pressure from the inside is almost more valuable than outside pressure nowadays. That's not a stunt, that's not a twist, that's two guys rushing in one B gap, and really it's just too much to handle for left guard Alex Kozan.